Hello, gorgeous. It is Lala Kent. Welcome back to the Give Them Lala podcast. I'm freaking losing my mind today because I'm losing my shit, by the way. I have Kail Lowry from Teen Mom, but you have gone above and beyond since then. I can't believe it's been this long since you started in the public eye. Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe I'm sitting with you. Crazy.
It is crazy. And, I wrote into the little, Instagram podcast thing, and everyone was like, oh, my God, this was the duo I never knew I needed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I agree with that. I cannot believe we've never crossed paths. I started watching Teen Mom, I think it came out in 2009, right? You made your first appearance 2010.
2010.
So I had just graduated from high school. How did that process go? Did you just get I don't understand how MTV found you all.
Well, so there's a little bit of a difference between the season 1 girls like Macy, Caitlyn. They got on a little bit differently.
Okay.
I think that theirs was Craigslist posts and stuff like that. Yeah. And so once that one sort of took off and they did season 2 of 16 and Pregnant, I had seen it on MTV.com. It said now casting. So I took initiative and applied, I guess.
Wow, Craigslist? That is a throwback of a website.
Like a blast from the past. Do people still use Craigslist?
I think once people started getting murdered when they would find their roommate on there, I think it kind of had its day. But sure. I mean, it changed your guys' lives.
It really did.
So did they have someone come in and just interview you? Once you did the application process, you had someone obviously come in and interview, right?
No. They called me 2 weeks. I had sent maybe a paragraph, and I was explaining my living situation, that I was already pregnant. And 2 weeks later, when they called me, everything had already changed. I had already moved in with, my son's dad at the time. And so from the time I emailed to that first phone call, and then they were like, okay, we really liked what you had to say. We're going to submit a questionnaire. It's hundreds of questions, a psych eval, all of this. We didn't ever get interviewed in person.
Oh my God.
The first day that I met everybody was the first day we filmed.
At that age, I can't imagine having a camera crew come in and it's your most vulnerable time. You're a child yourself becoming a mom.
Yep.
What do you think the difference is now with reality TV versus when you filmed a reality show? Do you feel like it's more contrived, where it's more produced, and back in the day when you started, it was more raw?
No, I think for my experience, I mean, I was on for 13 years, and I really think the only thing that really changed was me. I realized early on that I could be manipulated and give them what they want without having a say, versus 8-9 years in, I was like, wait a minute. I know how this is going to be edited. I know what this is going to look like after the fact. I know how people are going to perceive this. I know that they have to edit down 6 months of content to, 4 minutes per episode. And so I started to push back because I was like, this is not how I want this to be shown. I want it to be shown bigger picture. And so I think truly all throughout all 13 years, it was the same.
Wow. You wanted to take control of your own narrative because you knew at that point in time what the game was like.
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't there for huge moments and they had us wearing wigs, or they'd have us change our phone number contacts to a producer that was on set. So for example, if my ex texted me something outrageous, and they weren't there for the real moment one, they would have me change my producer's name in my phone to be my ex's. Okay. And then they would text me a similar text so that they could get an on-screen reaction. And so we called them pickups, and they were not real time. Or you'd see someone's hair would be changed because they only got half of it and they didn't get the other half. And so for that, it was really hard as a young adult and a teenager to go through those sorts of things, because then we're being ripped to shreds for something that didn't necessarily even happen that way.
Right. Because at the end of the day, although this was your real life, this was entertainment for the rest of the world watching.
Yeah. And they still had to put in those pieces for it to make sense to the audience.
Totally.
And I do understand that. I get it. It's just, it was very hard to do as a young adult.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I started reality TV when I was 23. I can't imagine starting at 16 and, expecting my first child. What was the relationship with your mom like back then?
I never had a great relationship with my mom. It was always tumultuous. It was always very touch and go. She didn't raise me my whole life. I sort of was like wherever someone would take me. And so
like with friends or grandparents?
Yep. Grandparents, friends, like my mom would leave me for weeks at a time and never call, never check up, never leave money, she sort of was just like, whoever will take Kail. That's how I grew up.
Do you have siblings?
My biological father has another daughter in Texas, and then he has children in the Philippines.
Okay. And did you have a relationship with him?
No, I met him on TV for the first time.
So you went into parenting not knowing what the fuck you were doing because you didn't even have anyone to look at to go, this is how it's done.
Yeah. And sort of that was like my mentality was like, I'm going to give this baby what I didn't have, was sort of where I was at.
I think that that's beautiful.
I hope so.
You changed the direction. You broke the cycle. So once you had your first child, you have 7 children.
Yeah.
Kail, I'm shooketh to my fucking core. I have to be honest. Because I remember watching you and like Isaac coming into the picture and like your first love. And then I remember seeing like Kail Lowry is having twins. It'll be her 7th child were you expecting twins? Is that something that runs in your family or the father's family, twins?
So I don't know how many people really know this, but twins always come from the mom's side. So even if the dad has twins in their family, it's sort of irrelevant.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So the mom side is what carries genetic or hereditary is fraternal twins. And then identical twins, there's no biological or like hereditary component there. That's just like, I was going to say risk. That's just by chance.
Okay.
I do have fraternal twins in my family, and Elijah, oddly enough, has identical and fraternal in his family. So it was just like, I just didn't expect to be pregnant at all. Like I didn't know I was pregnant at all.
Okay. So let's break this down. Obviously, your firstborn was oh shit, we're 16 and we're having a baby. Your other children, was there a conversation about wanting to bring them into the world, or were they all, and I don't want to say oopsies, but were they all like very happy oopsies?
Yeah. So the only one that was planned was Lincoln, and I was married.
Right. I remember that's Javi's son, right?
Yes. And
okay.
I would say they were all pleasant surprises. I would say, with the exception of number 4, was a very toxic time. And so Creed number 4 was, I think, the most trying time in my life. And so that one was a really difficult decision because I did contemplate possibly terminating the pregnancy. But I mean, I'm so glad that he's here, and I'm so glad that I decided not to.
All right, you guys, listen up because this is pretty major. Joy Women's Wellness invited my mom and me to get our blood labs done. And let me just say, my mind is blown. Like, have you ever felt like you go to the doctor and you tell them that something is off, but they just kind of like brush it off? Yeah, same. Joy tests for dozens of biomarkers I didn't even know existed. And then we had this amazing telehealth session where a clinician broke down everything. Like, I found out my biological age, and let's just say, was a bit of a wake-up call. They gave us an actual plan tailored to our needs. My mom and I walked away with answers and also hope. Since starting my plan, the brain fog, gone. My mood is better. My energy is up. I go to dinner, you guys, past 7:30. My mind is blown. And yes, I am ready for some action too, if you know what I mean. Whether you're in menopause, perimenopause, or just not feeling like yourself, Joy is a game changer. You deserve to feel amazing. We all do. So go to joyandblokes.com/Lala. That's JOI and blokes.com/Lala to get 50% off all labs right now. Restrictions apply. All medical services are provided by independent third-party providers contracted by Joy.
What is it like? I know what it's like to have a baby daddy. What is it like having, you have 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I like to say 3 and an ex-husband because my ex-husband was never a baby daddy.
And which dad was that?
That was Hobby Lincoln's dad.
Yeah, he's not a baby daddy.
No, he never was, never will be. He's my ex-husband. So.
And you have a good relationship with him?
Yeah, I mean, not saying that there weren't trying times because we've definitely been through it, but I think that through it all, we have always maintained Lincoln's best interest. And so no matter how many personal emotions got in the way or how convoluted everything got, him and I always maintain what's in the best interest of Lincoln.
I think no matter what sort of situation that you're placed in with the father of your child, you're going to go through the rough patches, right? There's a reason why the relationship ended. And I think you saying that you always put Lincoln first, I would say that is a healthy and thriving co-parenting relationship. The other 3, like, what is the custody situation like? I mean, do you have your kids the majority of the time? Do you try and keep them on the same schedule as far as going to their dad's house?
So Delaware is typically a 50-50 state unless otherwise agreed upon. So if you are divorced or you go through, a separation with your partner, even if you're not married, it's a 50-50 state, whether that's 2-2-3 or week on, week off. And so when Javi and I got divorced, immediately was Isaac and Lincoln on the exact same 50-50 schedule, where we would exchange on the same exact day. Holidays were the same. Everything was sort of the same. And then for Lux and Creed, it's a little bit different because of the circumstances and how toxic that relationship was. And so that is a 90-10 split. And he also lives out of state, so he can't necessarily have 50-50. And then so when they do go to their dads on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's on the same weekends that the other 2 are gone as well. So that way everyone is sort of on the same schedule. And same for holidays. Like they all get the holidays and everything like that. It's all the same schedule.
That's very nice. What is the relationship like between all the kids right now?
It's great. Right now we're in I think the middle 2 have the hardest time because they're the closest in age and they don't get a break when they go from my house to their dad's house. And so there's no separation for them, where I think, my oldest goes to his dad's, he gets a break from the rest of his siblings, and same for Lincoln. And so it's a little bit different when Lux and Creed, they don't get a break from each other ever. And I think it's so fascinating to me because I didn't grow up with siblings and I never know what's normal, how much fighting is common, where I draw the line, how much do I intervene. And so that part of it is a little crazy.
Yeah, I have one with my ex, and then I was so traumatized by the experience of co-parenting and just his presence on the planet. It was triggering to me that I'm like, I'm getting a sperm donor. So my second daughter there's no dad involved. And I think no matter what, you always go through that internal battle of, am I parenting the correct way? And I'm sure that, besides the one who has the 90-10, like Javi, and then I'm blanking on Isaac's dad's name.
Joe.
When it comes to co-parenting with them, do you have to parent each child differently? Not because each child is different, but because the dads may have a different idea of how they want to parent their child.
I mean, that's a really good point. And I don't think I've ever really talked about it, but I would say 1000% yes, because what I know about Joe and his parenting style and what I know about Javi and his parenting style, I think they're all very different. It's the child and the other co-parent, because if you co-parent or discipline or do something that the other parent doesn't like, that could put you in a whole other situation that you didn't even you never even thought of. And so,
Right.
yeah, I think that is a really good point to be made, is that it's not just how there's a fly in here. It's not just how, the kids need to be parented, but also your co-parent, which is sort of difficult. And, my oldest, I don't talk to his dad about anything. Isaac's 15 and 15 and a half. And so we really I don't speak to Joe about anything for any reason.
Because, I mean, Isaac's old enough for you to kind of just communicate with him and he can communicate with his dad. Is that the reason?
We don't really like to put him in the middle of anything. So if I have something to say, I'll shoot him a text, but there's really nothing I have to say to him at this point. Like, I have, all of Isaac's stuff on my calendar. Isaac and I are really, really close. And so there's just nothing. Like I said, if I needed to text him, I would, but I just don't have to. There's nothing.
Nothing to say.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's weird. So weird.
Do you want more children?
You know what's so crazy about this is that I had my tubes removed when I had the twins, and instant regret. And
no, are you serious?
Yeah, because I know it's crazy, and people think that I've already lost my mind 3 kids ago, maybe even 4 kids ago. I don't know. I don't know if it's mental illness. I don't know if it's biological. I don't know. Instant regret. I know there's always IVF, but then it's like, how selfish can I don't know. Do I want more kids? This complicated answer to that is I would have more kids if I could.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a savage.
It's mental illness, probably.
Are you not exhausted?
No, I am. I'm so tired. I literally said that to Elijah earlier this morning. I was like, he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I need more caffeine.
More coffee.
More coffee, more energy drinks, more everything. But I think the hardest part of all of it, all of the chaos, all of the madness, is truly just figuring out what to feed them. Like, that is where I struggle the most.
Is that not the hardest? Like, literally 3 meals a day, then you think about snacks. You're like, I'm tapped out. I have no idea what to give you.
Even when I'm away, like traveling for work and stuff, I don't know what to feed myself. So feeding children, whether it's 1, 7, 10, that is the hardest part. So when they're like, Kail, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. Can you meal plan for me? Because that's the biggest struggle that I have.
I think that a lot of moms would relate to that, because there's so many times, like, I relate to you saying I get sick of feeding myself. There are times where I'm like, it's time to freaking eat again. Like, I'm over it. I'm done with it.
Decision-making fatigue, the mental load of food planning, meal planning, prepping, all of it. If I could give up on just that, I would.
You would. I love it. I think a lot of moms would join you on that.
100%.
Can I ask you, what was the final, I guess, straw when it came to filming a show? You were filming for 13 years, and you have built yourself quite an empire with the podcast that you have. I saw that you launched your own network, Killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
And I want to get into all of that. What made you say, I'm done with the TV world?
Pretty much based on my experience filming and knowing how they had to edit certain things down, how certain things had to play out, and also really talking about the nitty-gritty details of my personal life, and realizing that no matter how in-depth I went, it was still going to be chopped and screwed so that it made sense. I didn't want to bring, Elijah into that. He didn't grow up on TV. He didn't sign up for TV. And so I did get pregnant pretty fast, and I just didn't want to subject our family and my, our relationship to that. And I just felt like if we were going to have any sort of reality TV, it would be about our family alone, because I feel like we have enough going on that we could have. And so I realized it wasn't going to be for us. It was not for, myself and Elijah as a family. And I think as time goes on, my oldest son, he doesn't really love to be recognized in public. And so that also played on, my decision. And in full transparency, I was making more money podcasting than I was filming Teen Mom, and I had to go through the ringer to even do that and put stuff out there, and then it was getting chopped and screwed. And so I was like, I could sit on my podcast and talk about this for an hour and make 3 times as much as I was making on Teen Mom.
Yeah, I think that's a common misconception when the outside world, as I don't want to take the the money that we have made on reality television for granted. I mean,
Right.
but it certainly is not going to give you a lifestyle that you can feed your family for, decades on. It's, it's more of a springboard, I felt.
I would agree with that, and I get a lot of shit or a lot of backlash for, they're like, well, if you wouldn't have everything that you have if it wasn't for Teen Mom, or you wouldn't have what you have if it wasn't for MTV. And I do agree to some extent, but I did use it as a springboard. I used it as a springboard to pay to go to college and get my degree, and I used it to start other endeavors and other businesses and create other opportunities for myself, where a lot of the time you don't see some of the other castmates doing that same thing. And so they have to sort of stay on TV because that is all they know and that's all they have. And that's no disrespect to them. Not everyone has a business mind. But for me, it was like, I know that TV won't last forever. I know I don't want to share these types of details forever. I want to share the fun moments, the funny things, and I want to do it my way on my podcast. And I can have people in my real life also sort of do the same thing they were doing on Teen Mom without it being cut down to 4 minutes.
Right.
So, yeah.
You know that feeling when summer hits and you're like, okay, I need to burn my entire closet and I'm going to start from scratch. Yes, I get it. Same. But I'm done wasting money on trendy stuff I'll only wear once. That's why I'm obsessed with Quints. They sent me this white cashmere tee and the cropped square neck rib tank in white. And you guys, these pieces are everything. The cashmere tee is so buttery soft. It feels so expensive and somehow still breathable in this heat. And that little rib tank, it's so cute with literally everything. I've worn both out to lunch, to school events, and just hanging at home in jeans and sneakers. Quince is the best kept secret in fashion. They work directly with top artisans and skip the middlemen, so you get luxury without the markup. You can get gorgeous linen shorts, Italian leather sandals, luxe swimwear, all for like half the price of other brands. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/Lala for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Lala to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Lala.
Would you ever, if a production company came to you and said, we'd like to focus a show around your family, would you be open to that? Even though Isaac says he doesn't like, if he doesn't like being acknowledged in public, like, is that something you'd really have to think about?
So Isaac doesn't want to be associated with Teen Mom. I think I misspoke when I was saying this. He doesn't like the correlation to Teen Mom specifically. But I actually was just under production contract for, I think it was like 9 months. It ended in February or March. And now I'm in works with another production company that would be a show, not necessarily about me. They want it to be about Isaac. They want it to be told through Isaac's eyes.
Wow.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if, as you know, with production and TV, you can be under contract. They can buy the concept. They can buy a pilot. They can do all of this stuff and it can never happen. So that's sort of where we're at.
I always say, like, I never count my chickens before they hatch. Until I'm watching, something on TV, you never know which way it's going to go. It could be in the development stages for years on end, but I love that idea of having it through his eyes.
I mean, I think it would be cool because it would tell his story. And, some of the babies from Teen Mom have been on, TV for all 16 years. But I think, Isaac does have a lot to share. And there are a lot of unique circumstances in our family because I do have 4 kids, 4 fathers to my children. And I'm neighbors with one of them. So I think it's just like a lot of stuff going on.
Which one are you neighbors with?
Elijah.
That is badass.
That's
an easy switch. That's an easy head on over for dad's time.
I'm like, get in the wagon. We're going to dad's.
Wow, you've got it really figured out. I guess when you've been doing it for so long, like you really have it down to a science.
You know what's It's chaotic, but I don't know any different. This is what I know. This is what my kids know. And so, like, I'm sure there's some level of trauma that my kids are going to experience or grow up and look back and be
But
like,
what child doesn't? You could live in the most, like, from the outside perspective, grade A family dynamic, mom and dad together, and there's always going to be something that a child experiences that's going to be a level of trauma. It is what it is.
I mean, I would agree with you, but I think the trolls would disagree. They would be like,
That's why they're trolls. And let's talk about that. You have trauma as well because you're up in my comment section acting like a damn fool. So let's deep dive into your trauma, bitch.
I got lots of trauma. I talk about it all the time.
But it's helpful. And so that didn't play a part in you leaving reality TV, did it? Like the trolls. Was it more of an internal battle, or was it like, I'm sick of these random people having such a profound say on my life and story?
I think I struggle with the troll situation a little bit more than maybe some of the other girls. And I don't necessarily want to speak for them, but there are phases that I go through. Like some days, some years, some months, I'm really fine and I don't pay attention to it. And other times I'm like, I really can't handle this. And so I want to say no, it carried no weight, but also I think to some degree it held a little bit of weight in my decision.
I relate to that. I could go months and be like, I'm so unaffected by what these random people say. And then it'll be a week of nonstop searching for people just dragging me to filth and me participating in looking at it.
But what is the psychology behind it? And I ask my therapist, I'm like, why do I do this? I don't know. I'll never know.
I'll never know either. Are you close with the other mamas?
So Kate and Ty are signed to my network for their show.
Okay.
And then, Macy and I have talked about podcasting together. We've done podcasts. I wouldn't say I'm close with her, but like we definitely talk. We're friendly. I'm fine with Amber. I'm trying to think. Farrah was just on my podcast not that long ago. And then Chelsea and I keep in touch from time to time. But we all live so separately. And I think that's also different from a lot of reality shows that are, living in LA, like, Vanderpump or Real Housewives. Like you guys are getting together. And we're not. We never did.
Right. Well, you guys were living in separate states. That makes total sense. Let's talk about your network. So right now, how many podcasts do you have?
I have 3 of my own podcasts.
You have 3 of your own. You've got Coffee
Combos with Lindsay.
Okay, Coffee Combos with Lindsay, and then
Barely Famous is my solo podcast, which is like interview based, sort of like this one.
Okay, great.
And then I have Karma and Chaos with one of my longtime friends. That one we launched in October.
Wow.
Yeah. So lots of them. And then on the network, we have Kate and Ty.
Okay.
Vibin' and Kinda Thrivin'. For the Haters, which is my longtime friend's podcast on my network. What else do we have? I don't have it off the top of my head, but we have a couple shows on there.
When did you start the Killer Network?
Killer started 2021, 2022.
And did you just have such success and love with the podcast industry that you were like, I want to make this my full-time gig and I want to put other podcasts on the map?
You know what's so funny about that? So I went to DSU. I graduated in 2017. And I remember during that time, everyone was like, podcasting is not like a moneymaker. Like you're going to put a lot of effort in and not get a return. And then Lindsay approached me in 2017 and was like, do you want to start a podcast? And I was like, not really, but I'll do it. Like I'll give her a chance. And I had never met her in person, I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
And we started podcasting. I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like, this is good. I'm going to be all in. So I went all in.
What about it did you love? Just like talking into a mic and kind of being uninhibited and saying whatever the fuck you wanted?
I really think that's where it started. It was like, okay, I can go in depth and explain these teen mom scenarios from the show and actually give people like a more well-rounded, in-depth view, I guess. Like I can
Yeah.
talk about it unfiltered. I could say my perspective, share my frustrations, but then I also could share like the good parts of my life because it's a lifestyle based podcast. And so I think people started to really see a different side of Kail. I was always very, very defensive on Teen Mom. I always had my guards up. I came off kind of cold and mean. And so on the podcast, I feel like more people could relate to me and they saw me from a different lens, if that makes
That
sense.
Yes, because I'm seeing you through a different lens just doing this interview. When I would say when I watched Teen Mom, I think you were very intimidating. You know, like, well, you were no bullshit. And it was like you had very little time for anyone who was here to play games and fuck around. And I don't want to say that you were cold. I didn't get that from you. But I would say that we didn't get this side of you that I'm getting right now.
Okay, I think that's fair. And I think that I still have a little bit of that. Like I get a lot of shit for like leaving my kids' dads. I left all of them, and because I am to some degree take no shit, but then also I am a lover girl. Like I'm very soft. I'm a crybaby. Like there are parts that I never really wanted to show on TV or I didn't know how. And so through the podcast, I was able to express myself just completely differently. And the reaction that I was getting from people sort of fueled me into, wanting to keep going through podcasting. And that's why I ended up doing the second show and then the third show and then having the network.
Do you ever run out of shit to talk about?
Never. Literally never. I mean, I shit my pants once a month. That's a whole episode every other week.
Are you being truthful right now? You shit your pants?
Yeah.
Are we talking like a shart? We don't realize it's happening?
No, like I'd say the nitty gritty shit on my podcast, all of them, like shit my pants, had to drive 15 minutes home. Like it was bad. You know what I mean? So like I talk about everything.
You know what? Good for you that you can shit your pants and still bag 4 dudes to have kids with. I think if I were to shit my pants, no one would ever be with me ever again.
I mean, it's possible, but you take me as I am. You got to let them know up front who you are. And then you don't have to worry about it a year down the line,
There's no surprises.
None.
What is it like for you dating?
There's not a whole lot of dating before I get pregnant usually.
Really? So it's kind of like we've seen each other a couple times and now we're stuck together forever?
That's pretty much how it worked with Elijah.
Okay.
That one. And I contrary to popular belief, I've actually can count on both my hands how many people I've slept with. They think that because I have kids with 4 men that I just like am out here gallivanting around. Like not true at all. Like I just fall in love so fast. And I think that get pregnant right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, with 7 kids, I would say if you were out in these streets just banging whoever, I think that you would have like 1,200 kids.
Yeah. And lots of baby daddies, that's the bigger problem. It's not the babies, it's the dads that I have to deal with.
That's very intense. I can't imagine having 4 of them. I have 1 and I'm like, how do I like give you away?
Like keep the kid, take the dad.
Yeah, go away, please.
Literally.
What is it like? I mean, like, are you trying to date right now?
Absolutely not.
Are you?
You can't date. I mean, I don't want to leave my house. That's the other thing is I'm such a homebody, but I'm like homebody to the extreme. The only times that I leave my house is for my kids' sports and if I'm on a work trip. So you will not catch me going out in Delaware and like going out to eat. You'll never see me at a restaurant out in Delaware.
You know what though? I'm the same way. Like every time I post on social media, I'm like, why does anyone follow me? I don't do anything fucking cool. I'm always in this house.
Literally, I have everything. I was just having this conversation yesterday. I'm like, I have a pool. I have my house. There's DoorDash. I read a lot of books. Like, what purpose do I need to leave this house? Like, I don't want to go.
I don't blame you at all. Are you open to dating in the future? Or are you kind of... Kail, I feel like we may be the same person.
I fear we may be the same person.
Like, it's actually... I'm like, wow, I'm having a conversation with myself.
But... It's borderline unhealthy, I think, for me.
With the dating, for me, I don't know if you relate to this, but, once you get to a certain place, like you have the kids, right? So you don't need a man to come in any longer to give you your kids. Because you're how old? 30?
33.
33. You're a baby. We're babies. You've got your kids. You've got your own career. You've got your own money. It sounds to me like you've got a therapist who can kind of get you on point when it comes to your emotions.
Yep.
You really don't need a man to come in and give you any of those things.
No, and I think that's what people get really upset about. I'm not a victim of my circumstances when it comes to men. I'm not going to stay where it doesn't serve me any longer. And it takes a lot to impress me. I don't care because I have all of this shit I already do it all myself.
Right.
And if I can't do it, I can hire someone who can. So I don't need a man to come forward or to come into my life and do the things. I don't need it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And that's actually what scares me as well, because I mean, full transparency, and I doubt by the time this airs, I will have bumped pee-pees with anybody. I literally have not been intimate with a man, and I've said this on every podcast, because it's shocking to me. No intimacy in over 2 years.
But you know what? You can do it yourself.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
point?
And now I've got a drawer full of vibrators. I'm like, a man really, I really don't need it. And I worry that I'm going to be so comfortable in this solo dynamic that my kids are going to be grown and I'm going to go, what the fuck? My mom's going to be dead and gone. Oh my God. I can't even think about it, Kail.
I went to my OB, well, I guess GYN, and I was like, hey, how do I not use vibrators to get off? Because I was like so used to the vibrators that I like couldn't get off any other way. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I can only do this. And he was like, all right, we're going to have to. So we had to have a whole conversation, come up with a game plan, check in. So like when you're talking about this, like this is real. Like we're the same person.
We are. No, I'm sitting here. Everything you're saying, I'm like, oh my God, Kail and I could literally live in a hole together. With all them kids.
And if we didn't talk and we were just in each other's company, that's fine too.
Even better. Postmates and chill. That is my vibe with a bunch of kids, because all I want to do is be surrounded by children and just like chicks.
Chill. Yeah. And I have 18 chickens also. They're a lot of fun.
Well, I saw you do something with Isaac where you did the whole egg thing with cage free and like store bought.
Oh, so we did like our farm fresh eggs from our farm and then store bought. And that was kind of cool because I'm not really an egg eater. I just got the chickens for funsies.
Yeah.
My son likes to bake. And so he was like, wait, these are really different. And so we like did the comparison or whatever. And so now we have 18 chickens, 4 goats, 3 pigs, and 5 ducks.
Damn. How many acres you got up there in Delaware?
You know what? We're only on 6 right now, but
we're only on 6. Just a cool 6 acres.
Well, because you're in LA, right? So what is the acreage like over there?
The acreage is no acreage, babe, unless I want to be dropping $100 million for 6 acres. No joke.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
I just bought 20 acres for
What? I am moving the family to Delaware.
Come on. I mean, the good thing about Delaware is that it's 2 hours from everything: Baltimore, Philly, New York, New Jersey. So it's pretty centrally located. But in Delaware itself, if you're used to living in LA, it's probably not for you, I would guess.
Yeah, but I don't leave the house.
This is true. So maybe you'd like it here. There's a beach an hour away.
See, that is totally my vibe. What is it like for your kids going to school in a place like Delaware where like you're in the public eye? For me, obviously, my kids, well, my oldest is only 4, but she goes to school with a lot of kids whose parents are in the entertainment world. So, like, it's no big deal, right?
Yeah.
For you, I have to imagine that is very strange for most of the kids to be like, you're on TV.
Well, so my 7-year-old, he's in 2nd grade. He came home and he said, and this kid knew what kind of car you drove, and he saw you on TikTok, and he knows about your TikTok. And I'm like, this is so weird because I don't think anybody on the show could have really put themselves in that headspace when we signed up to do the show. So I don't think any of us were really thinking about the after effects. For him, I think it's okay because he wants to be a movie star. He wants to be in movies, and I believe him. But for my oldest, like he wants to do things more his way. And so it's a little uncomfortable when people are like Teen Mom. And now if it was a different show, I think that he would have a different reaction. But I think there is a stigma attached to Teen Mom.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I definitely would agree with you. So how old? 7? The 7-year-old wants to be in movies?
Yeah, and I believe him.
Like, so are we facilitating this? Are we like sending him on auditions and things like that?
Since we live in Delaware, there's not a whole lot of anything going on audition-wise. I'd have to be in LA or New York, and we don't have the time and resources to do that with, sports and everything else. So unfortunately, no, but I think that he still has a promising future in comedy, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big personality.
I want to know what it's like for your only daughter to be around 6 boys. Because she's only a year and a half, right?
Yeah, the twins are 18 months. We'll have to do another follow-up when she's a little older, but she truly is so spicy, and it's so funny because I think that the twins are me and Elijah in little children bodies.
Yeah.
Because Elijah is very like stoic. You don't know what he's thinking. He's very chill, calm. That's Verse. And then Valley is just full of life and very spicy. She'll let you know what she wants.
That is adorable.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that you only have one girl.
It's crazy. I really thought maybe we would have the grand finale of twin girls, but I'm glad it was boy-girl twins because then I don't want them to compare each other. If it was 2 girls or 2 boys, I didn't want them to like do the comparison game. And I know this is crazy to say, but like I wish twins on everyone I love. Like twins are so fun. I love them so much. And if I could have another set of twins, I would.
That is crazy to me. You were like born to be a mother.
I must have been because my parents didn't really want me. And I don't know if it was like karma is like, okay, well then you're going to have a kid that wants 100 kids. And that's exactly what happened.
So your relationship with them hasn't changed with your parents?
No, my dad, I met him on TV 2010.
Okay.
Or 2009. That was the first and last time I had ever met him. And then my mom, I haven't seen in 8 years. So I don't know where she lives. I don't have her phone number. She's only met my 2 oldest. She hasn't met the rest of them. I don't even know if she knows I have twins or any other. Like, I don't know what she knows. I have no idea.
I have to imagine she knows about your life. I mean, you're very Googleable.
Maybe, but like, I don't know if she Googles me, Like, I don't know if that's something that she would do.
Yeah. So then hey, Mom, could you imagine?
She's like, I heard you on Lala's podcast.
Right? Oh, no. Before we sign off, I want to know the biggest challenge with having 7 children.
I think the biggest challenge is time management because I do really love to spend one-on-one time with all of the kids in addition to like family, like all of us together. And I never want anyone to think that I don't make sure that each of my kids has that. It is important. No matter if you have 1 kid, if you have 5 kids, if you have 10 kids, that one-on-one time, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, like that's something that we carve out almost every single day. That is challenging because I know that these 6 kids need me right now, but this individual child needs me for 10 minutes undivided. So I think that's the hardest part.
Does that make you nervous as they get older that you may not see that one of them needs you and you could drop the ball?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think about that from time to time, but I also think that the same could be said for a single mom of 2 children.
It's absolutely correct.
I think the same could be said of a mom of 1 child who's working, when I just had Isaac, I worked 3 jobs and including school, it was 2 jobs plus school. And so that could have happened with just 1. So I think it really depends on the circumstances of each individual family. But, I hope that making sure that I carve out that individual time will connect myself with each child in a way that they know that, if they need me and I don't see it right away, that they can still come to me and say, hey, like, I need you for X, Y, and Z, or like, I need this 10 minutes today. Or, whatever it is, I want to go do something with you.
Yeah.
I hope that strengthens the relationship enough that they can come to me and tell me they need me.
I think that's amazing. And I have to say, I'm in awe of you and everything that you've built off of, was it Teen Mom or 16 and Pregnant that you were on? When did it?
I did 16 and Pregnant first and then did 13 years of Teen Mom.
Well, it is fucking jaw-dropping to see what you have done off of that.
you.
I'm very inspired. I'm excited to have you on the bonus. I have a lot of people who want to know how to parent certain situations.
Or how not to parent.
Or how not. Hey, you know what? We can give both. I did this wrong. Never do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time for the Give Them Lala podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And my loves, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Give Them Lala podcast. We will catch you next week. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the Give Them Lala podcast. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Did I get all three? I'm getting really good at that.